Ottman Azaitar versus Khama Worthy. Now, what really happened in this fight? An explosive finish less than 2 minutes into the fight, where Ottman Azaitar pretty much blitzed down Khama Worthy after Khama Worthy threw an inside leg kick. Just hearing that, you know that there was a big mistake that happened. Ottman Azaitar's biggest punch is that right overhand. He knocked out his debut opponent with it, and even before the UFC, that is the thing he commits to the most. The big right overhand. And when you throw an inside leg kick as someone who commits with overhand rights, that is a recipe for disaster, because it actually does not get you away from the right overhand. It can actually set up the right overhand on yourself, because when you throw a right overhand in the orthodox stance, you usually step off to your left to set up the angle for the overhand right, as well as drive in as much leverage into it as possible. It's a punch usually committed to knock out the opponent. It's a power punch with a weird angle that is sometimes hard to defend, and it's rarely used for anything else. Instead of keeping your foot in front of you, you step it out to your side. That is the same direction the inside leg kick is going to kick your leg out to, right? The lead leg kick from the opponent in the orthodox stance is going to kick your foot out to that position. This is very similar to what we saw with Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. Same thing, but they were in opposite stances. Justin Gaethje was throwing the power kick, the right leg kick to the inside of Dustin Poirier, and Poirier was using that to set up the left straight. Another thing that happens when you throw a leg kick at someone who's throwing a punch at you, especially in this kind of exchange, inside leg kick to a right overhand, both guys are in the same stance, the guy who's throwing the leg kick is going to be planting himself. When you throw a kick like this, you plant yourself in space. You don't have nowhere to move. But the fact that the strike is a ranged attack, it's a longer range attack, can give you a sense of security. Or in this case, a false sense of security. You think you're safer than you actually are, and if you go and spar and train and whatever and you start throwing inside leg kicks all the time, you start to feel that the inside leg kick and leg kicks in general just feel safe to throw it for some reason. It just feels always safe to throw, like it's just an attack. I'm gonna hit you with it, it's gonna land a little bit, and we continue afterward. Well, nowadays, man, because so many fighters are getting finished by getting countered for their leg kicks, they gotta lose this sense of security about throwing it, and they have to start masking it a lot better, man. It's not like the old school days where you could just slam leg kicks on each other. People are getting finished out here for throwing a simple inside leg kick. So Khama Worthy is planting himself in space when he's throwing this inside leg kick, while Ottman Azaitar has freedom to move around with his overhand right, specifically move to the left, following Worthy's kick, landing the overhand right. Throwing an inside leg kick at Ottman Azaitar is not going to throw him off his game at all, because Azaitar is not throwing many jabs. He doesn't commit and set up a lot of his strikes off of his jab, right? The inside leg kick is mostly used to offset and take away the balance of the lead hand of the opponent, not necessarily the right hand. And Khama Worthy kept going to the inside leg kick. He threw it a few times within like a minute and a half. And this also allowed Ottman Azaitar to feel out the inside leg kick, because the first few times that Worthy threw it, Azaitar just kind of moved away and downloaded the data a bit. And after feeling out and seeing the tendencies of the inside leg kick from Worthy, the fact that Worthy brings down his left hand, he flares out his right arm when he goes and throws it, Azaitar then starts feinting at Worthy just to see his reaction. So he has down the offense of the inside leg kick, so he starts feinting at him, kind of getting down the defense of Worthy, and every time Azaitar feinted at him, the left hand always dropped. Worthy kept bringing down his left hand, and you know what that means? The opening for Azaitar's right overhand. So he knows by feinting straight forward at Worthy, Worthy's gonna drop his lead hand. This gave Azaitar the green light to throw his overhand right, and that is the opening that he needs to finish off this fight. Worthy moves forward, actually throws a jab, but does not mask the leg kick behind it that well. It looks like 2 attacks rather than 1. Right? When you want to mask your strikes or hide it behind something, you want to make it seem like it's one single motion. When he threw the jab and threw the inside leg kick, it looked like 2 different attacks, and because of that, Azaitar was able to time both of them. He goes and tries to parry the jab as well as moves back with his left hand up to his head, and he sees the setup for the inside leg kick. Worthy's right hand goes away from his body, flares out, and he drops his lead hand. Well, Azaitar takes a very wide stance, the exact position he wants to throw an overhand right with full power. The leg kick does land, but the fact that Azaitar already put his foot out so far to the left, it's not going to do much damage. It cannot kick it out that much more, and the fact the leg is so far to the side, it forces Worthy to really extend and swing the leg kick in order to connect on Azaitar's leg. And because of that, the retraction time is going to be very long, allowing Azaitar to land right through that opening of the lower left hand with his overhand right and stuns Worthy. But it's the left hook that comes after that showed that it was going to be an inevitable inevitable end. So afterward, Azaitar just blitzes down Worthy with a bunch of punches, starts swinging to the body once he sees Worthy cover up high. Worthy grabs onto a clinch, settles for the single collar, and starts trying to drive uppercuts. But the power difference is big. Worthy doesn't necessarily have the best position or stance to bring a lot of power into his uppercuts, as he's not driving them forward, he's kind of just arm punching with his uppercuts, and he just keeps getting stunned back and forth by the hooks and overhands of Azaitar, and eventually leads to a finish. So great finish for Ottman and Azaitar, explosive fight that everybody expected, and 100% someone was going to get knocked out or TKO'd. He's still undefeated, 13-0, 2 first-round knockouts or TKOs in the UFC, and I cannot wait to see what's up for him next. So I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. If you did, make sure to thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe. My next video is going to be the podcast. I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'll keep you guys updated for the next couple days when that is going to come out. And then my prediction video for the excited UFC card coming up next weekend is going to be up probably by Tuesday or Wednesday. So be looking for that as well. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys then.